part of the biochemistry program, you will see that actually our school actually right now have 5 programs. Okay, we used to have 6, but now we changed to 5 now. So I'm part of the biochemistry programs and also the Cmbi, right, the cellular and molecular biology program. Okay, so after today's session, we will have a brief Q&A session for you guys to ask questions about particular programs. Okay. And you can feel free to ask me questions about biochemistry and Cmbi. And then we also will have other teaching staff from other programs like FNS, biology, and also MBTE to answer your questions. So this is a little bit different from the orientation the Faculty of Science actually have given you about 2 weeks ago. So this is actually mainly focused on SLS. And I bet many of you actually are interested in science but really couldn't tell what's the difference between the 5 programs we have, right? But before we look at the specific programs, I want you guys to keep this in mind, all right? University education, all right? Maybe you have heard this already. Picking the right major, of course, will help you, to move further in your career, right? After you graduate. But actually, I think most important training that you should get from a universities are these general knowledge, okay? These are the knowledge, all right? These are what we will try to equip you with when you graduate, and these are the abilities that actually will last you your lifetime, okay? Many of you, right now thinking, we are joining the School of Life Science, we're going to have a scientific career or something like that. Maybe you change your mind, all right, along the way. Okay, maybe all of a sudden you like other stuff, business, right? Business in, I don't know, like manufacturing the red test kit, right? Things like changing career path is very common, all right? Throughout your lifetime. But these general capabilities is going to last you your lifetime, and this is actually the most important thing to really get you the first job. Okay, so of course, we will be providing you all the fundamental knowledge in molecular biology, biochemistry, and cell biology. Doesn't matter which programs you are going to pick later. Okay, because the first 2 years, we are going to, we have like a faculty package courses, that you all need to take, and that will equip you, in the basic knowledge in molecular biology. Okay, what DNA, RNAs are, how we can manipulate them, or what they really. The RNA vaccines, what they really means, right? Things like that. Biochemistry, okay, how the chemistry inside the cell actually, are being carried out by proteins, by enzymes, okay, protein enzymes or RNA enzymes that you will learn later. And then also a little bit of cell biology, how the cell actually really function. Okay, so these are the basic information that all of you will learn, okay? The most important thing is critical thinking. All right, I know you guys from DSC, has already stressed a lot. Your teacher has stressed a lot, in the training of your critical thinking ability, okay, problem-solving skills. But these are things really, like move you, further in your career path. Because I'll give you some example, okay. Collaborative skills, how you will be collaborating with others, handle, interpersonal relationship, or inside a lab, in a job place, for example. Proactive, responsible attitude, or how you respond to whatever duties that you are given to you. How you actually respond responsibly. And efficient writing, communication skills. Okay, hopefully by the time you graduate from CUHK, you are very good in English writing and also communication, PowerPoint, like the one that I'm giving it to you. Doesn't have to be related to your major, just a general. Presentation on any topics, you should be able to present it with ease by the end of your training. And then commitment of ethical professionalism. Okay, it depends on what career or maybe what major you are actually going to be focusing. Okay, particularly in life sciences, we are going to equip you with ability in genomic editing, genetic engineering, for example. You can create a novel organism. Okay, after 4 years of training, or maybe after graduate school. So how do you actually stay with the ethical boundaries is a very important thing. Otherwise, the knowledge that we're going to provide you or equip you with is going to, do a lot of damage to the society. We will have courses to guide you through this. So, as I say, these are general skills, right? What's the point? For example, if I have actually students, I have trained over like 30, 40 FYP students already through my years here. Some of them actually, after they graduate, they do not want to stay in science, and they do perfectly fine actually in the career path these days. Some of them actually go to the financial sector. Some of them, become educators, become teachers. Of course, some of you already have that in mind. For example, if you go to, just a trading company, okay, you couldn't find a scientific job, or you actually lose interest, all right, in science, go to a telecom company, okay. What they actually requires you to do is some critical thinking and problem solving. Why? For example, okay, new iPhone 4 just came out, 14 just came out, right? What's the market share in Hong Kong? How many people are using iPhone? How do you make it a bigger market for iPhone? How do you switch people using Android phone to iPhone? Marketing, thinking, generating solutions, okay? You have people present questions to you. You do critical thinking, all right? You do data analysis, right? We are going to teach you data analysis, how you finish your experiment, you analyze the data, right? Write a report. That's a scientific report you have done, in biology class already, right? So you know that. But in the job place, they are going to ask you to do the exact same thing, right? They will ask you, to search for the data, all right, on the market share, all right, Android phone, iPhone, on the market. The age distribution of people using iPhone, for example. Right? These are the data mining skills, okay, that we are going to enable you to, we'll give that ability to you. Problem solving skills, right? You combine this, what do you do next? You collaborate with the marketing team, and then you present to your boss. You present to your director, present how you can actually, for example, using your idea to increase the market share of iPhone 14, for example, like that. So these are generic skills. Doesn't matter which career path you take, you will need that, okay? So besides the major courses that you're going to take, pay attention to these kind of generic skills. You should master that, and you must master that if you want to have a successful career later on, okay? So keep this in mind. But of course, other than all these generic skills, like pretty much all majors can teach you, right? We're going to hopefully help you to focus more on some majors or topics that you are actually more interested in, okay? So we have 5 programs, as I mentioned. We have biology, biochemistry, MBTE, FNS, and then also Cmbi. So let me go through one by one to you, okay? Biology, all right? We actually School of Life Science was actually found by merging, the two really long history department, biology department and biochemistry department, back in 2010. Okay. So the biology, they focus on the molecular architecture to the entire ecosystem. Okay. So if you like conservation, all right, you like studying organism, okay, at the organismal level, all right, the whole organism, biology is for you, all right, so there will be courses focusing in, plant, human, and also marine biology, and then you will be actually studying the physiology, of the organism in these courses, and the biology, in particular, we actually tailor the courses so that you can develop, a teaching career in biology after you graduate. So if you teaching is something that you have in mind, so you can think about biology, all right? So still pretty abstract, all right? The next slides, I'll give you more detailed information about the differences between the 5 programs, okay? Biochemistry, all right? So as I already said, to understand, how the chemistry, okay, the chemical reactions that actually happens inside our cells, inside our body, okay? How the liver actually, detoxify find, a lot of toxic chemicals or drugs, all right, or change the metabolites into, drug-like compounds. The chemical reactions that is actually doing the job. We are going to go a little bit into a more detailed levels, meaning that we're going to go into a more high resolution level. We're going to look at molecules, okay, proteins, how reactions actually happen at the atomic level, okay, molecular level. Okay, we'll be looking at how atoms, how different atoms are actually jumping around, how catalysis actually happen, and this will actually we will have emphasis in clinical and biomedical sciences. So some of you might be have heard that we have biomedical sciences and the life sciences. What's the difference? All right,
many of you may think that actually the biomedical science will be more attractive because of the name of biomedical, right? Life science actually we do everything that biomedical scientists will do, except that we do something other than that as well. For example, biology, food science, right? Biotechnology. But if you want to go into biomedical, all right? If you want to do something related to medicine, okay, developing drugs, for example, biochemistry or actually Cmbi, we have professors actually teaching that, and also we are actually doing that. For example, my lab is actually doing drug development, okay? So biochemistry also will cover everything that you will learn in medical sciences, okay? So don't think that you miss anything, all right? You didn't miss anything, but actually more likely you're going to learn more than just medical science, because we do more than just the human body, all right? Just like biology, I already mentioned. You will learn about plants, you will learn about marine biology. Okay, and then MBTE, all right? So once we understand, how the cell work, how the chemistry happen, MBTE will actually, will help you to actually apply different type of technology, new technologies, okay? Genetics, okay? Engineering technology to help you to engineer animals, plants, microbials, okay? Microbes, okay? Pretty much, all living organisms these days we have genetic engineering tools to manipulate, and you can develop new organism, okay? So biotech, will have emphasis on that. So if you want more application, you don't want like just basic science, you want a little bit more application, more industrial use, you can consider about MBTE. So food and nutritional science is totally different beast, okay? This is obviously, food, nutrients. You will still need to understand how the cell work, right? Because after you consume the food, how you actually digest it, and what the nutrients, right? The different nutrients are doing for the cell. So those kind of biochemistry and cell biology, you still need to understand that. So that's why we have the course for that. But at the end, you'll be more focused on the individual and community health. That's something that you will learn. Food chemistry, okay, food technology, for example. But it is going to be slightly different than the other four, all right? All right, the last one, the Cmbi one, all right? Cmbi is actually one of the one that most students actually are confused, okay? Because this is actually very similar to biochemistry and also MBTE. But this major is specifically designed to, for students who already have a very strong intention in doing postgraduate study, okay, a research career in science, okay? So Cmbi will be looking at the cellular level, okay? You will also learn about molecular biology, but you will have actually a pretty focused training on scientific writing and communications, okay? So all the other programs will also do the same thing. Again, you will hopefully you will actually gain very strong writing and communication skills. But Cmbi will specifically equip you to do that specifically for scientific research. Okay? So if you're thinking about research career, this is something that you might want to consider. Next skills in the field of cell and molecular biology. And also again, if you want to do biomedical science or just simply biological sciences, in the future, and you already already make up your mind on doing that. So Cmbi is one program that you should consider. Okay, so far so good? Following me so far? Okay, I know it's right after lunch, so and it's getting a little bit stuffy here, so you might be falling asleep. But so I'll give you an idea, okay? All right, we are all wearing masks because of this virus. So how, for example, how people at School of Life Sciences or different major can help you to understand, this virus, for example. If you study the biology, okay, you probably, study, like, as I mentioned, animal physiology, organismal biology, then you're actually going to understand, how the host, all right, which host, or how actually the host can carry this viral vector, all right, they're not getting sick, they're spreading the virus. So you're looking at the animal level, all right. So the virus, okay, of course in the biology you also understand the microbial organism, right? So you understand biology of the virus as well. But when it gets into our body, all right, you start affecting our cells, for example. You already have all heard about the ACE2 receptor on our cells, right? And then the virus uses a spike protein to interact with it, right? So how the interaction happens, okay? How do we know that actually this interaction is the one that mediates the cellular intake of the virus, or how the virus actually go into the cell? So that's biochemistry. We look at the molecular level. We look at the molecular level, how actually the spike protein, for example, interact with the ACE2, okay? And for example here, this is a protein structure. It looks very foreign to you. You will get really familiar in looking at these kind of figures, in 1 or 2 years. So this is a structure of the spike protein in complex with the ACE2 and an antibody, all right? Neutralizing antibody, for example, that we really hope our body is making, is binding on to the spike protein, okay? How the interactions happen, how the recognition happens. So those what our chemistry will actually teach you. Okay, and then how the reactions, okay, for example, during the fusion, how it actually get into the cell, okay? Later on, the spike protein, they need to be processed before, the virus get mature by an enzyme called furin. How that reaction happens, how the catalysis happens, for example, those are biochemistry, all right? So you will be learning those kind of reactions in biochemistry. So now the virus get into the cell, all right? You start replicating, you start affecting the cell, all right? The cell is, the immune response change, the signaling pathway change. So that's cell and molecular biology. You're understanding, how the cell biology, is responding to the viral infection, for example. Okay, and so this is why that biochemistry and Cmbi, has some gray boundary there, because the whole intake and then also the replication actually requires knowledge from both sides. Okay, but again, depends on whether you already have a very strong mindset a career. Okay, so after you have all this knowledge, what are we going to do? We need to, for example, we need to actually study that, okay? Infection, how it actually affects the animals. And we are not going to, cut open a human being and see how it affects our lungs, right? So we need model organism, okay? So model organism, for example, is something that is about MBTE, all right, the Molecular Biotechnology. We'll show you how to actually engineer one, okay? Hamster, for example, Hong Kong actually, has been using hamster for the study of how SARS-CoV-2 actually, affects our lungs and cells at the cell level. So the development of, of a model organism is something MBTE could be. And then also vaccine development, all right? How we actually deliver the vaccines, how to package that, how the industry actually making massive amounts of vaccines, for example, those are MBTE, all right? So through this cycle, hopefully, you have a better idea which stage, which step of this infection actually you're interested in studying. Follow me so far? Still awake? Okay, good. All right. So this is actually something that you can find from your SLS handbook. I'm just going to give you, a brief introduction once again. So first year, all right, all of you are most likely all of you are first year, otherwise you will be So we have a faculty package for you, all right? You need to take LSCI 1002, which is actually a course to prepare you for the more advanced materials. Even you have DSC training in biology, but not all of you actually take the same electives, right? Some of you have done ecology, some of you have done actually recombinant technology, for example. So these actually will prepare you, to move to the next stage. Okay, and then there are two courses that we suggest. Actually, one is modern chemistry, principle of modern chemistry. If you haven't taken chemistry, in DSC, then you can take that. But actually, we will suggest you to take the organic chemistry and biomolecules. Okay, because this is going to show you how the catalysis, particular, for example, if you want to understand biochemistry, how atoms will be transferred, all right? How bonds, okay, how the proteins get clipped into two pieces, those kind of reactions. You require understanding of some of the organic chemistry reactions, okay? So we actually recommend this. So some of you who haven't taken biology, but still interest, okay, or you just started to get, a strong interest in that because, for example, of the COVID, you are welcome to join us as well. We actually have another course, 1001, that is designed to equip students who haven't taken biology in DSC to actually continue to do well actually in our school, all right? So do not worry, if you actually don't have a strong biology background, okay, so we will equip you and get you prepared, okay, for the rest of the training. So for the students, who are confused about the major declaration, okay, so some of you has already made up your mind which major, which program you want to join. That's great, okay. If you haven't made up your mind, that's totally fine. We actually have two. You are allowed to actually declare your major at the end of year one. Okay, after you learn more about biological science, you make up your mind, you can actually declare at the end of year one, all right? Most students actually will do that. But if you still couldn't make up your mind, you still want to explore a little bit more, you are allowed to do so, okay? Year two, we have more fundamental courses for different programs. We have, specific fundamental courses for each of those programs. So if you haven't made up your mind, okay, take one or two of these courses, all right, to see whether you are really, you really have a strong interest in them, okay, for Cmbi, food science, BCHE, all right, biology, all right, here, and also MBTE, we all have courses for you to check out whether, that major really fits you, okay? So you can continue to explore in your year two, and then that will be your last chance, okay? At the end of year two, you need to declare the major, all right? But hopefully, actually most students in our previous years, they all have to make up their mind after some training in year one and year two, okay? And afterwards, all right, year three and year four, you are going to pick the electives, all right, or other major courses that is actually offered by the program that you actually have selected, or major you have. All right, so far so good. If you're confused, your handbook actually will have more description on this. Okay, so this is something that I want to introduce to you. Other than the majors, all right, as I said, program, all right, major training is one thing, but another thing is, the generic skills, how we actually equip you with a lot of other generic knowledge that will help you along your career. So we actually have quite a few research program or exchange program that help you, to develop your interest or enhance your knowledge outside the classroom. So for example, we have a SMART program. Okay, this is a research program tailored for year one students after the first year of training. If you already have a very strong interest in doing research, you want to develop drug, or you want to combat cancer, for example, you can start joining professor's lab and also start doing real research. So there's some requirement for that. You can find all those on the website. I'll show you in a bit. We have this Berkeley Biosciences Study Abroad program. We actually will select students to go to UC Berkeley in the Bay Area of the United States and study for a term, or take science course there, and those students can all be transferred back to CUHK, so you don't waste any time. But that will actually, really open up your eye, to what how other world-class universities, are actually doing. And then we have DREAM program, okay? Again, overseas research opportunity for students in year 2 and year 3 who actually, really want to see, how research are being done overseas. And then we have this USSP, this is actually a university student sponsorship program. It has been, it stopped like for the last 2 years because of the pandemic, but hopefully, we'll have that offer to students again. So this is actually for students who are interested in conservation. Okay, this actually, will provide opportunity for students to do conservation work here or overseas. All right. And then there's an iGEM program, okay, iGEM competition that, students will actually, is a student-initiated project, okay, research project that they will actually bring out to, to Boston or other countries these days for worldwide competition. All this information, okay, you can find on our website. It's not very obvious, so I'll show you step by step. So you go to the program, you just go to our SLS website. Under the undergrad programs, you will find the special programs, okay? So all these programs I just mentioned are listed here, and they will give you the requirement for joining. If you have further questions, you can always feel free to go to Science Center 132 and ask our general supporting staff, for more information, okay? So this is where you can find information about, the overseas opportunity, for research, okay? Just to give you some idea, some of the university our students has visited in previous years. Pretty much, you can think of, you name it, we pretty much have collaboration with them. Okay, some of the top universities, or if you want to go to, like different countries, we have Denmark, we have Switzerland, we have Sweden, and all these other places as well. Okay, and if you want to do local internship, all right, to explore whether there's a chance for you to continue your career in those kind of organizations. We also offer those applications to students. All right. These are the career prospects. All right. You can see many students actually, continue for postgraduate study, but if you don't want to, actually, for example, biochemistry, more than half actually will go into the society. So again, this can be found. Actually, this can be found on the SLS webpage. If I go back here, okay, if you go back to our webpage. All these charts you can actually find, all the information can be found under the career prospect. Okay, so you can feel free to check it out. Okay, so don't panic, all right? You can explore types as well if you do. Okay, all right. So those are like the general stuff. So some of you might actually are really interested in research, but you don't know where to start. Okay, our school actually has doing research in many different areas. Biology, we have embryonic development process, we have genomic, bioinformatics studies, okay, protein science, drug development, for example. We have authentication for food, even if you're doing food science, we have fat and cholesterol metabolism, exploring, how some of the phytochemicals, okay, fungi, all right, for example, they have a lot of phytochemicals, mushrooms. They have a lot of phytochemicals that actually can cure disease. You will learn about, you can actually do research on those. But how do you find this opportunity? Okay, so you guys are all university students now. Okay, self-initiation. All right, you need to actually, if you have interest, all right, you need to motivate yourself and start contacting maybe the professors and look for opportunity. I have is actually a website effectively. We have the web page. You can find the academic staff, the information of the academic staff. You don't have to just look at the email and look for the content, because under that, you can click on academic staff. You will show this page. All the professors' name will be here. You click on the specific professor, for example, Professor Shannon. All right. Right there, you jump to her page, and we will show you actually what research interest she has, what type of research she's doing. Okay. So these are very brief description. So right there, you understand what type of scientific technology, okay, or techniques they are actually using to study what type of life sciences questions. If you're still confused, all right? Hopefully in a year or two, you actually will start, you probably will be able to read scientific paper. Read one or two, this is my suggestions, okay? Google one or two of that recent paper. See what disease pathway they're studying, what kind of techniques they are using. That will actually give you a lot more information than just the website alone, and you will have a better idea whether this is something that you want to do research on. Okay, so take advantage of this information on the website. All right, this is an important thing: academic counseling. How many of you actually knows that you have already been assigned an academic advisor? Any hands? No? Okay. Great. So, okay. So very soon you will be assigned with an academic advisor. Okay. So you will be assigned with a professor or lecturers, okay, a teaching staff from our school, and he or she will be actually providing the counseling and mentoring throughout your entire college life here. Okay. So where can you find it? All right. So as I other teachers just told me, we might not have assigned, but check it out later. So you can go to your CUHK, all right, under your academic progress, all right. You click on that. Actually, you can click on the advisor. After you have been assigned with an advisor, you will actually be able to see his or her contact information. Okay. The last 2 years, again, because of the pandemic, we didn't organize, like student staff interaction. Kind of activities, but usually we will try to reach out to you and contact you, for a meeting, casual meeting, all right, not like official one-to-one, scary kind of like formal meeting, lunch, all right, having lunch together or have boba tea, at one place together, and just to talk about what your needs is at CUHK, and whether you have concerns about questions. About your classes, or your career choice and things like that, or even further study, overseas. Okay, so take advantage of that. I strongly recommend you to take advantage of that. Particularly, a lot of students in the year 3, year 4, before they graduate, they get very nervous, all right, because they haven't decided whether they want to take a career path in research or they want to, go to the industry or what they want to do, and they don't have suggestions. Okay, they don't have support from families or friends because they don't have experience in that. So the professors here actually have experience in that, may have connections with that. Okay, so talk to those people. Okay, talk to the teachers, talk to your advisor particularly. All right, it's very important. This kind of support is very important. For you to succeed. At School of Life Sciences. Okay. So we are actually also making some effort in developing a student-centered support network for people, who actually has problems but feel embarrassed talking to the professor. That's fine. We are trying to, have a student-initiated website and IG account for students to actually communicate. For young students like you guys to communicate with more senior students from our school. Okay, many of our students actually here are very willing to help out the freshmen, the first year students. So they are actually trying to provide blog posts and things like that to help you along your training at SLS. Okay, it hasn't completely finished up yet. Okay, we are working on the web page, but the IG account is up already, so you can follow that, and we'll keep it updated. Okay. So. Okay, so for the academic advising, if you email, okay, so one thing I want to mention is most of the teaching staffs are actually very busy, okay? When you email them, ask for questions, maybe, he or she didn't respond. Don't feel that, they are just ignoring you. Most of the time, it's because we forgot to respond, okay? Most of the time, we are checking email during lunch, on the train, thinking that, we'll go back to the office, reply this student, and then just forget about it, because we usually receive like 30, 40 emails a day. And I do it all the time, okay? So I strongly recommend you, if you email a professor, email a teaching staff, you didn't get any response, email another time, the third time, until he or she say, no, I don't want to meet with you. Don't feel embarrassed. Seriously, we actually miss a lot of emails. My FYP student, my graduate student actually experienced a lot. Okay, I thought that I already replied them like 10 days ago, and actually I didn't. And it has to knock on my doors and ask for a specific question. So do it, okay? Contact professors. And in case that really you don't get any response, you can talk with the general office, see what happened to the advisor. Maybe he or she is taken over now. Otherwise, you can come to me, all right? You can talk with me. I'm responsible for admission, so I'll try to take care of the first year student. You can find my email on the school webpage, okay? But again, if I didn't respond the first time, email me. Okay. All right. So this is actually, I'm doing this for a double major program. So we are actually offering a double major program in biology and chemistry as well. So if you have interest in just more than biology, you want to do something more, you can feel free, to explore this, and I can direct you, to the right person to figure this out. But I won't be spending too much time on this. Okay. Let me see if I missed anything. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it for today. Please stay and ask questions, okay? We have actually teaching staff from all 5 programs here to answer your specific questions if you have any. Any questions? Yeah. Any questions? Feel free, it's time to ask questions. You guys, college students, don't worry. Don't feel embarrassed. No questions? Anything you guys want to add? You guys all clear? Oh, yeah.
I will study one branch in undergraduate. Can we master in another branch? Like I'm doing biochemistry in undergraduate. Can I go to cell biology in master?
Yes, definitely. So if you're planning for example, postgraduate study, you want to do a master, you want to do a PhD, you can always switch major. You can always switch the field, all right? Because as I say, what we're going to try to equip is all the generic skills. You will develop, by the time you about to graduate, you already develop good communication skills, writing skills, critical thinking. That's what we are looking for, in postgraduate students. Doesn't matter, about biology major, Cmbi major. For example, I said that, I do drug development, right? So I have students actually, I have PhD students who graduate from Cmbi, all right, from biology as well. Actually, I just trained also, this summer I trained FNSC students, she wants to learn a little bit more in molecular biology, so I offer her, experience in doing molecular biology as well. So you can always change. So this is also a very important thing. I know you guys probably, some of you might think, I'm stuck with science, what kind of career, we can have. That's not a very big industry, right, to be honest, in life sciences. But the idea, in doing science is, you actually want to do more than just undergraduate, okay? So that's why, many of our students, after, they study for 3-4 years, they actually develop such a strong interest in science. They want to further the career in actually research, okay, do postgraduate study, as I showed in the future prospect, okay? And to be honest, once you get a PhD degrees, master degrees, I don't know whether I'm allowed to say that, but that's actually your free ticket to any countries in this world. Because once you get that degree, you are capable. That proves you are a capable scientist. And people around the world, scientific lab, industry, drug companies, vaccine developer, they're actually looking for expertise in those kind of fields. And actually, you get a PhD, you pretty much can feel free to go anywhere you want. We have our students actually are all over the place: Oxford, Cambridge, Harvard, everywhere. Okay, so also consider this kind of future career path, okay, or possibility in the future. Okay. Yeah.
Will the PowerPoints for this seminar be?
I can post it on. I'll try to find a way to distribute this. Actually, I will try to put, actually we are making a video. We'll put the video actually on the CUHK client. We'll try to give the, distribute this information to more people. Any other questions? That's required. No questions? You guys already decided or still have no idea? Okay, some of you already decided, right? So feel free, like, okay, so maybe give me 5 more minutes about it. Okay, I'll close this, and why don't you guys stand up and talk with the professors? You guys are very active, during the Faculty of Science orientation and talk with us for like 30 minutes or an hour. Why you guys all sitting there? Feel free to ask questions. I'm trying to like keep it at me. No questions? Really? Nothing? Okay. Yeah.
My main question is about my personal enrollment in the course is, so I'm on the waiting list of life sciences. I'm wondering if I can still sit in the classes.
Yes, which course you mean? Like, because it's
Life science
102, is that too many students?
It's like 200.
Yeah. So in that case, actually I think 102 are being offered in both terms. But you want to sit in the first term? You want to make sure that you want to sit in the first term?
I'm considering sitting in the first term so I can.
Yeah, we can always feel free to sit in any classes. Yeah.
So basically, we can just sit in the classes without.
Yeah. No worries. If you want to, for example, sit in the course in physics, in astronomy, you can always sit in the back, in the lecture room, go to the lecture room. Feel free to explore, information from other courses. Yeah, we can do that. Yeah. Any other things? Okay, if we have nothing, okay, I'll pass the room to Professor Amos Tai.